All right. A very good evening, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on the future of management careers. My name is Kripa Gathani. I'm a career coach with Mindler, and I'll be, of course, one of the hosts who will be answering the questions in the chat. But I have some of the very esteemed speakers with us today. Management is one of the most sought after careers for all the young students. It is considered as a lucrative career option, and management degrees like BBA, MBA are seen as a safe bet. But how promising is the future of this career domain, and is it the right choice for you? Arguments about the future of management careers are poles apart, and our experts here with us today are going to bust some of the myths and answer most of your burning questions. Before I move on to introducing our speakers, I do have a couple of quick announcements to make. First is please make sure that you are any questions that you're putting onto the chat, you're marking it to all panelists and attendees, because I have some of my team members here who would be addressing your questions as well. Secondly, you have an amazing opportunity to avail a free one-on-one session with Mindler's career experts. All you need to do is ask relevant questions in the chat regarding today's topic. The student with the best question will get a free session with our expert counselors who will help them get better career clarity. Our team will be, like I said, keeping a track of the questions, and we'll reach out to the lucky student after the webinar. All right, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our speakers. First, we have Professor Rajarshi Chakraborty. He is the chairperson, Student Affairs at Jagdish Sheth School of Management, Bangalore. Professor Chakraborty is an erudite academician with an experience of over 10 years, developing results-driven curriculums and delivering engaging instructions to the management students. With his proven ability to develop rapport with students, Professor Chakraborty displays outstanding ability to individualize instructions, architecture, based on students' specialized and changing needs. With strong leadership traits and an excellent ability to coordinate with different stakeholders, Professor Chakraborty contributes to creating a sporting and efficient work environment around him. It's an honor to have you with us here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Kripa.
We have Mr. Abhijit Goon. He's the head client operations at Grade 4 Systems INC, having spent 28 plus years in the industry, out of which 22 years in IBM, performed various roles from developer to project management to industry SME to becoming the COO of IBM China and COO of IBM Singapore. He got an excellent opportunity to face various challenges and complex problems and learned from every experience, success or failure. Learning is his passion, and it is a continuous journey beyond any milestone or certification. For him, learning is for life. He has put all his learnings and experience to define the concept called Salmon Attitude, which primarily focuses on out-of-box thinking with common sense. His sole objective is overpowering people by enabling them to think differently. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Goon. It is a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Last but not the least, we have Mr. Prikshit Dhanda. He is India's leading career coach and the Chief Strategy Officer at Mindler. Professionally trained from Harvard University, Mr. Dhanda is one of the leading life coach, motivational speaker, and career coaches in the country. With over 20 years of experience, he has mentored and trained more than 2 million students across domains and regions. Understanding students' aspirations along with their attitude, motivating them to achieve excellence has kept him busy for more than 2 decades. Thank you so much for being here today, sir. I'll hand over the proverbial mic to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kripa. And welcome, Professor Chakraborty and Mr. Abhijit. I mean, the students they are very lucky today. They'll get to meet, not only people from the academia, but who have done remarkable work in the corporate sector as well. Dear students, who you are listening to us, when we're talking about management, all right, before I open the floor and I discuss with my panelists here, let's understand what are we talking about. We will be talking about undergrad business administration as far as India is concerned. So if you are a student in 12th class and you're looking to make it to the undergrad, and then of course couple it up with a postgrad whenever possible, with WorkX, without WorkX, we'll get into that later. As far as if you're a student in 12th class, there are typically few routes to undergrad business management in India. One is there are certain institutions which will take an entrance test. You will crack the entrance test, and therefore, if you make it to the merit list, you're in. The second possibility is there is a combination. They could be looking at your 12th class marks along with the entrance exam, and then there you're in. Another possibility is which a lot of business undergrad management programs at the universities do, is they will also have an entrance exam followed by an interview. All right. It could be a case study. It could be a group discussion and interview. And finally, you're in. There are few universities who could even look at your profile, your overall, not just academics, but what else have you done along with the academics, right? So that's possibly, the way to make it to, phenomenal institutes in India. Next, there are lots of, questions around what kind of the nomenclature that they use. Okay. Now it could be a BBA, it could be a BMS. In the good old days, it used to be BBS. All right. Along with a BHM, BHA, many BBE, all these. So we will be talking about it. Okay. Just to give you a very broad idea before I go to my guess, usually there could be a general undergrad business administration where you're studying typically, disciplines, all right? Then there is a possibility where you study your first 2 years and then you choose a specialization in the third year. Other routes are you start with your specialization right from day one. Of course you will be, like you are doing a specialized finance program, right? And so on. We'll be discussing, okay? Great. And we'll be taking up a lot of questions. My first question to my guest, Professor Chakraborty, let's start with you.
Absolutely, Mr. Dhanda.
The good old days when you could just literally point, specializations on your fingers, human resource, finance, sales and marketing, operations. I mean, maybe one or two more, right? And today is scary. Even for a coach, it is scary to see the kinds of options that are available. I mean, just before starting the webinar, I decided to pen down. But first I'm going to ask you, and then I'm going to look at, I think I could look at about 35 to 40 specializations, all right? My God, poor students, when you have to, how do you actually help them? So my question to you is, let's talk about some new age specializations. And of course, you're most welcome to touch upon the conventional ones. Over to you, Professor Chakraborty.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're absolutely right, because there are a lot of choices that people have today. So a very good evening to one and all. And I sincerely appreciate your seriousness in your career, because on a Saturday evening, you guys are here, and that shows that you guys are interested in a career. That's what I can make out. Now, to talk about, there are many specialization that is on offer. You will hear specialization on music and entertainment, media and entertainment, legal, this thing, blah, blah. There are a lot of, areas that you can focus on. But, I'm proud to say that as part of Jagdish School of Management, we have actually, we have a BBA program that is all about discovering yourself and discovering your passion and following your passion to the core. And in doing so, what we have done is that we have created a liberal professional curriculum for BBA, for the people who are just, passing out their 10+2. Because we understand that this lot is a little worried lot because a lot of in the pandemic situation, somewhere somebody wanted to eat something, and the entire world was almost destroyed by this particular virus. CBSE examinations, I don't know what is the situation of that particular examination. So a lot of us are into a lot of problem, lot of chaotic situation in the world. So looking into that, we actually focus on many new age specializations, which are actually what's going to make all the difference post this chaotic period is over. And we offer new age specializations, Mr. Dhanda, as well, in the areas of MarTech. Now, MarTech is a combination of marketing and technology, because that's what's going to happen. The traditional roles will not be there anymore. So we focus on areas like MarTech, FinTech, digital transformation, business analytics, digital marketing, digital HR, communication design, entertainment management, and legal studies, to name a few. The idea is very simple. The undergraduate program that we offer, we try to say in this manner that you can learn to play instruments, you can be a vocalist, you can paint on a canvas, you can trek on the mountains, and still be an industry 4.0 professional, which is the requirement in today's industry. So it's all about having a liberal mindset, discovering your passion, and at the same time focus on the management area to be a real industry 4.0 professional. So these are some of the new age specializations that we offer to our students to make the difference, to make them the change agents that the future wants to see. I hope that clarifies some of the doubts, Mr. Dhanda.
Definitely. You've thrown a lot of light and also, gave us good insights there. Mr. Abhijit, I'd like to go to you. Purely from a corporate standpoint, now, what are these specializations? Can you throw some more light on this, please?
Okay, so thank you. So corporate has evolved. If you see, the concept of corporate has changed drastically since 1990s. Okay, so 1990s, we had no computers at all. So the concept of computer was like somehow was diluted. 1995 onward, somewhat the industry as a whole started to adopt computerization. Otherwise, computer was only the IT companies you could see the computers. So from there onward, the transformation started. And every year the transformation is happening. It is not only the technology area, the management layer, everybody is trying to transform. Like FinTech, it is merger of technology and finance as an industry. MarTech is marketing and technology getting. So technology is the next dimension we are looking at. It says that technology will be there for another 30 years. We should look into technology evolution. After that, what will happen, we do not know. Which means next 30 years, every industry you talk about, HR, marketing, DG, or even agriculture, everything is getting merged with the technology. So it will be combination of technology with the domain you are talking about, industry you are talking about. Generally, we call it around 27 industries are there. So every industry will have subdomains. So I'm not talking about subdomains. So first, these industries will get merged into technology. Take an example, auto is an industry getting merged with the technology. Now self-driven car or auto-driven car, correct? So that is getting merged with the technology and the industry together. So similarly, every aspect of the industry will get merged. And as it gets merged, it is not the traditional workforce will get diluted. They will be needed. So take an example, those who are doing generic BA, BCom, BSc, those jobs will be there. But to manage them, you need the management layer because those people are the workers. It is not that that job will go off because end of the day, somebody has to work and those work will be there. People who are doing general studies and general things, they will come and do work, but they will not be able to manage things. To manage things, you need the layer of management. So I'll just take an example of a ground level worker. Then you have the lower management, then middle management and upper management. So the ground level work will be there and all the three layers will be there. The only thing will be, it will get transformed. Over a period of time, this will get transformed. Just I'll take 2 more minutes extra. See, if whatever I have read about management, some around management was initiated by Frederick Taylor in say 1909 or something, maybe 100 years back. Right. And he was a mechanical engineer. Correct? So he introduced that it's a need for this one. Why it was a need? Because the gap between the manager and the workforce was the knowledge gap and management gap was too high. So then what happened? It was not the top and middle and this one. So every employee or 2 employees, there was a manager. because they did not know what exactly the message to be called. Now, slowly and gradually, that layer is shrinked. It has become 3 layers: top management, middle management, and lower management. Lower managements are entry level. Over a period of time, they move to middle and then to higher level. So if you see, even the workforce in the bottom are also getting educated. Everybody understands what is technology. They are also aware. They are also getting more mature. So as this workforce gets mature, so this management layer also has to get mature. You cannot use the traditional or old thinking of doing and managing them, because they understand. They understand how it works and all, but only things they don't lack is the management layer. So what I'm saying, in the future, as and when these schools are innovating, take an example, Jackson as an example. It is not that Jackson, these new courses are introduced 10 years back. It is just maybe a few months back or a few years back. So they will keep on adding, because to survive in that marketplace, the people also has to develop their skills and upgrade their skills. So both layers will go parallel, but don't think that the lower level will go off. Lower level will be there, but to manage them, we need this layer. So, and every industry will do the tech and industry merge.
Thank you. Thank you. That was brilliant. Thank you, Professor Chakraborty and Mr. Abhijit. And dear students and counselors, if you're listening to them carefully, you will get distilled wisdom there. So this is the beauty of industry and academia together on the same platform. Thank you so much. Before I move to my next question, and I'm picking up a few threads from their conversation, okay? And please, dear students, listen to what I collected few minutes back before the start. Retail management, event, materials, HR, international business, finance, real estate, construction, sales and marketing, operations, disaster management, money markets, research, market research, branding, supply chain, logistics, quality assurance, industrial, hospitality, sports management, banking, insurance, travel and tourism, rural management, as our dear panelist, Mr. Abhijit, talked about, healthcare, aviation, petroleum, IT, family business, entrepreneurship. And in the same breath, we are also talking about fintech, business analytics, finance, IB, environment, big data, green energy, oil and gas, financial markets, communication and media. And I'm sorry, the list is endless. All right. My question to both my guests is pandemic has hit almost every possible industry. And there are so many that I just mentioned, and Mr. Abhijit talked about 27 industries and then subspecializations. My question to, let's start with Mr. Abhijit again. How has the pandemic impacted the various fields of the domain?
Okay. So it's a very good question. Whenever I face questions, these are the first questions nowadays people are asking. So I will explain in 2 parts. Maybe I will try to divide in 2 parts. We call it, you can touch, because if I'm a buyer or a seller and the other side could be a buyer or a seller, I am a teacher and you are a student, or I am a college and you are a student. So it's like a 2-party agreement if I'm trying to do it. So there are certain things which call tech and touch delivery. In the sense, there is a technology and there is a touch point. In the sense, human presence is needed. So tech and touch, you have technology and touch point. I have to be in presence to show you something. So that is tech and touch. And there is something called pure tech. There is no touch involved, pure tech. Giving an example, when you receive a call from someone saying that, do you need a credit card or a loan? This is pure tech. There is no touch point. Purely technology coming and talking to you. The person could be sitting anywhere and doing anything. But tech and touch, take an example, you want to buy a car. First, you will evaluate the car through some apps and all and do that. Okay, fine, I like it. And YouTube video, I'll see. Then I will go in presence and I would like to do a test drive. So this is a mix of tech and touch. Then fully touch, I'm not talking about. Example like agriculture as a business is like you have to fully touch. If you have to do farm something, you have to go to the farmland. I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about other 2 parts. So the people who were in tech and touch, they suffered a lot, to be honest, in this industry. Take an example, hotel industry, media and entertainment industry, movies and all those things, correct? So they suffered a lot because the tech and could make them to do something, but the touch part was missing. And they somehow could not come up with the touch part. Okay, so how to replace the touch part? They are evolving. And as I am into many of the forums, I am finding it out, people are waiting for 5G to come. So once the 5G comes, this hologram based, touch and feel, 3D printing, modeling, all those things will become reality. As on today, you cannot print a 3D print from here to US or US to here because of the network bandwidth will choke. But 5G technology comes in play or 6G technology comes in play. You will be able to have a semi-touch point available for you. So these are all the things happening in tech and touch. But people who were only on the tech, they did not get too much impact. They knew how to navigate. They quickly could manage it. Take an example. Most of the IT companies, as soon as they got it, only thing they were lagging was a laptop at home or a breadboard at home. They just bought the laptop, shipped it out. People knew what is work from home. People knew how to work from home and all those things. Technologies were there. Correct? So they did not suffer. So I do think there will be some amount of transformation will happen. Take an example. Even in those companies where technology is predominantly available, they also have a learning and knowledge department, L&D we call it, or L&K, learning and knowledge, learning and development. Those were still delivered through presence mode, not through technology mode, always presence mode. So they are also trying to transform. As this pandemic goes over, and these companies are already writing millions of codes, millions of core curriculums, which can be delivered through the tech model, not the touch model. Where is this part, which I am working with some of the pharma companies. So pharma companies, just to give you an example of this, right now the vaccines have come, correct? Every pharma company is mandated to have an audit every 6 months, physical audit in 6 months. Physical audit, in the sense the auditor from the regulatory body, could be India, US or Europe, will visit your facility and do the physical audit.
Right.
So now what is happening is the entire thing is getting transformed. Every pharma company, US has mandated that all the data has to be digitized. We may not be able to come, correct? Has to be digitized, and there will be a small window of people who will come. Take an example, they will outsource 2 people who will go and visit and ensure that in front of them you are loading the data. So once the data is loaded, rest all they will take over. So these changes are happening. As I speak, it is happening. They have given a deadline by April 2022, which is like another couple of months. Government of India is loading something called track and trace, which is nothing but every pharma company barcode, which is going out of the country, has to be in centralized database. Blockchain is one more thing is coming to make it everything related to virtualization. So these are all the stuff happening. Please understand, more and more thing comes into the domain, more and more chaos it gets created. And chaos only can be solved through management. Chaos cannot be solved by one technology, cannot solve another technology. Whenever there is too many things coming into play, these technologies will be enabler, but management will be integrating everything and running the show for you. So hence, I think, I hope I have tried to cover.
Yes, by a long margin. Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Abhijit. That was, and it's especially the examples. I'm 100% sure our audience is enjoying every word. Professor Chakraborty, over to you. The same question, please. Your thoughts on that.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with Mr. Abhijit Kohn. In fact, I can give you a few insights on this, what I have noticed. I think that the worst industry that was affected and it has completely changed the profile on the industry, I believe, is the travel and tourism, if you ask me. Because I am a hotel management graduate and I started my career in Bangalore working in a hotel called ITC Windsor Sheraton Towers, which is one of the most renowned 5-star hotels in the country. So I started working as a chef. Okay, I'm talking about back in 2001. So suppose that, on the 11th of September 2001, we have experienced something which I hope the world doesn't experience anymore. The Twin Towers strike. Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Mr. Dhanda, yeah. So the thing is that, the Twin Towers strike in the United States happened on the 11th of September 2001. And I remember the day when the tourism industry in India was greatly affected. And since I was in the hotel industry, I quit hotel industry because there was no other option. There was no business. Something similar also happened today because I'm seeing a lot of new things that are coming up with, which was unimaginable a few months back. For example, the concept of, workation. Okay, the concept of workation. Now, I've never heard this ever in my lifetime. And I'm sure that this is a new trend in the industry just to bounce back, if you ask me. I would say there are many industries that got seriously impacted, as rightly told by, Mr. Abhijit Kohn. Another industry I feel was also affected was, the small and medium sector. If you ask me, those people who are living on the daily wages, they're seriously affected, and those industries also got affected, to my understanding and knowledge. So I would say that yes, it was a wake up call for us. The pandemic was a wake up call for us. Schools were also affected, because I know my daughter is in the sixth standard and she's at home for the last 1.5 years. And I know the pain. I know the pain. Being a father, I know the pain. And I just couldn't imagine myself in that place. So schools are also got affected. So there are many industries, but ultimately I look at it in a positive way, sir. I look at it as a blessing in disguise. It has woken us up. We are all awake now. We cannot take anything for granted in this world today. We have to start getting adjusted to new situations, new things. And I think we are going through a phase, that proves that the only thing constant today is change.
True.
And we need to change ourselves to adapt to the new environment, to the new situation. That's what I believe in, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Chakraborty.
Welcome, sir.
I'm just picking up one question from the audience.
Sure.
This was Kirti Naran, who asked, what if I'm a 11th or a 12th class student, I'm 17 or 18? What kind of a skill set is required to do well in the management domain, so to say? Mr. Abhijit, let's have your quick views on that.
Yep. So I'll give you a couple of things here. Okay. So many people ask me about when career guidance comes is like, what is the future of which thing I will pick it up, and so that it gives me lucrative job or better status. That is one part. Another part, they ask like what type of technologies are going to be there in the future. So both, I think, somewhat somebody is interested not in the money and then career, but interested to one going to future technologies. So I will try to summarize this into, again, 3 parts. Let's take it 3 parts. One, according to me, is called core skills. So core skills, many people call it soft skills and other things. Okay, many other things. But for me, it's a core skill. Core skill will not change. Core skill will be there long. And it is like it was there 100 years back, 200 years back, and it will be there forever. So that is the core skills which you need to have. I'll explain what is core skill later on. Then comes the industry or the domain skill. So different between industry and domain, I will explain this. Domain is nothing but for me is cross-industry skills. Example like HR. Any industry you go, HR will be there. Finance. Any industry you go, finance will be there. Procurement, operations. These are all, every industries will have those departments. It's cross-industry. I call that's a domain. In the sense, if you learn, there is no industry attached to it. If you do HR, you can go and do HR in any industries you want. So that is domain. Then comes the industry specializations, which includes like I have worked on retail or automotive or aviation or shipyard. Okay, those are technology. So these are all very, very specific to, even technology has got 2 parts. One part is domain and one part is very verticalized area, correct? So verticalized technology, R&Ds are pretty much verticalized. Horizontal will be like normal cloud computing and digital assets, and all those are domain based. So now it is not a straightforward answer for me to tell you that which one will be, I should recommend it to you. But I can only recommend it to use the core skill, because that's most important. Because if you have the core skills, you can switch over these 2 very fast. Like when Android launched in 2009 or 10, until today, nobody has come and taught us how to know WhatsApp. We learned on our own, correct? So it is not about somebody will come and teach me and then only I will learn it. Certain things you will just adopt. Your adaptability is more important than can you adapt to it. And if you adopt, fine. Tomorrow another Facebook, new Instagram, something comes. Nobody comes and teaches you. You just, okay, learn. The button is moved from here, fine. I know that. Correct. So those are the things I think you can pick it up any point in time, provided you are willing to learn and think. Correct? But the core skill, I'll explain what are these. Core skills were there 100 years back to maybe 1,000 years back. Even BC is also you can go. Example, problem solving skills. Do you identify the problem and can you solve a problem? It could be a core skills. Many people who do something, it is a copybook, like 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 3, I do not know. 2 + 2 I learned, 2 + 3 I do not know, correct? So that becomes a problem. Core skill is to understand the core of it. Okay, problem solving, negotiation skills, adaptability, okay, change management, and courage. It could be courage, passion. These are all the stuff which you need to bring in your core skills. And once your core skills is very good, this other two layer, industry and all, will be very easy to navigate. It's not a problem. Just in few training you're done. If you do not know how to ride a cycle, you will take a cycle a few days and you will learn how to ride a cycle. Same thing for driving a car, 3 months, you will drive a car. So there's a new technology, you can just move in and then you just learn it. But how do we impress an audience? No matter whatever training you do, you will not learn until unless it is deep inside you. So that's why always I tell my people is, do you have the core strength? Build your core strength, because it was there, it will be there. No matter what happens in the other two layers, build that. And once you build that, other two layers you can easily sail through. That's not a problem.
Thank you. Thank you. Brilliant. Brilliant as always. And my audience, I hope you're listening to him. So the focus, as Mr. Chitej talked about, is core skills. All right. Now, Professor Chakraborty, I'd like to know something. When I was going through your website, all right, I looked at international pathways, especially in your undergrad program. Can you throw more light on international pathways for students in your program, please? You muted? You muted.
Raj, you are muted.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes,
right.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, international pathways are something which actually is one of the key things that JAGSOM, or Jagdish School of Management, provides to its students. Now, the students actually gets an opportunity to study at top international universities after their undergraduate program in BBA. So we have partnership with many leading business schools for degree pathways. Now, some of the institutions involved is ESCP Europe, which is a well-renowned, B school in the European countries, presence in London, in Rome and many other places. We have tied up with ESC Rennes School of Business, we're located in Paris, France, and the Sydney Business School that is located in University of Wollongong in Sydney. Now, in this option, students can obtain a dual degree after completing 1 or 2 years at JAGSOM, and they can complete their second and the third year at the partner institution in the area of specializations being offered. For example, ESCP London is offering a specialization in fintech. So they have the option of visiting and completing the program there and get a dual degree. So in this way, we actually provide our BBA students for international education pathway, higher education pathways, in association with some of these institutions that I talked about. The objective is to give them an international exposure and also to give them an international degree, which they would have otherwise got by spending, 2-3 times the amount that what we are charging, because of our tie-up with these institutions. So that is what it is all about. Sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Dear students, that's also an amazing possibility. It is like you get to do your degree in India also, and plus have internationalization, or what is called, the global perspective of management. Okay, Mr. Abhijit, I'd like to go to you for another quick input from you. A lot of students ask us this question, if not today, in other forums. I have done my undergrad. All right, undergrad business administration. Should I immediately couple it up with an MBA, or work for a few years and then look at it? Of course, you would know that international top 100 business schools, it is a requirement for you to have a, good experience before you go. But in India, even IIMs and many other institutions, they allow you to do straight away after your undergrad, you do your postgrad. In your corporate experience, right? I mean, I'm not saying which one is better. It's not talking about a trade-off, but what are your views on this?
Yeah, so I'll give an example of 2 parts to that. Okay, I take an example, few things which can continue. Take an example, after BBA, I can go MBA and do that, correct? So example will be non-specialized area or highly specialized, not the mid one. So non-specialized area, general management, you can do BBA and MBA and come out of it without having much of an in-between experience not needed. You can do that, general MBA, because you are not 100% sure that what industry you're going to pick up or what technology you're going to pick it up. I just do an MBA and then find it out. I'm open to anything I want to do, correct? So then that industry specialization may not be a mandatory path for you because then you are not choosing anything in between. I have my friends who actually said that in 3 years they will come back and do MBA, but they took 6 years. In these 6 years, what happened? They changed industry to industry. Because what they thought, this industry will be good. When they joined, they found, no, this industry is not the right industry. I had my something wrong. So let me change this industry. Within 2 years, they changed to another industry. And finally, on third attempt, they went into the best industries. Okay, this is the industry which I like it and I want to do that. And then they came back and did the MBA. Okay, so take an example, one person who started with manufacturing as an industry. I'll just give you a live example of my friend. So he went to the coal industry and the steel industry. And then he found it out it's become very difficult because the innovation is very, very long drawn process. It's not a quick innovation. It's like somebody has written how to manufacture steel. That's how it will continue. It's not too much of innovation not happening there. Correct? That primarily will go. So then he switched over to something called white goods manufacturing, which is nothing but your washing machines and all those things. Correct? So he did that and he found it okay, pretty much good and all. But India brand as in India was not very powerful. Only Samsung, Sony's, all those outside brands were very popular. BPL was almost dying. Videocon was almost dying. So he said, that's not the industry I would choose. I choose the last one he chooses auto industry. And he got so fascinated with that. And then he said, no, now I know what MBA I have to do. So then he came back and said, okay, now I want to do an MBA. So now what happens, if you have something in mind that I have to use my MBA experience to a particular industry, then it makes sense you go and check whether what you want to do exactly matches your experience or not. Imagine that guy would have done and keeping in mind, 6 years back doing this one and then coming out and say, that's what I've done a mistake. I've done an MBA and gone with 2 years and I'm not somehow not liking it. Correct? I'm not able to leverage my experience with this one. Correct? So it then becomes pretty much easy. This is my life experience of my friend and he's in Singapore right now. So he told me that I would recommend anyone who actually looking for this type of experience, that industry specific MBA I want to do, better let them go for industry experience. See whether it is good for you. If it is good, please come back and do an MBA because there is no restriction. You minimum qualification or minimum experience. If somebody says 2 years or 3 years, do that. If somebody says not needed, fine. You stop after 2 years and come and do it. Absolutely fine. You like that industry, you do that MBA. But if you have general, then I would recommend you continue. That's fine. I think that should be good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Professor Chakraborty, another question for you. Okay. Can you there are tons of choices as far as doing an undergrad in India is concerned, right? As far as business administration is concerned. Absolutely. I want you to please highlight what are USPs of your program that students would like to know, and many of them would be interested in applying to your institution. I want to understand, can you share a few USPs, please?
Absolutely. Now, I will definitely would like to share the USPs or some of the very unique things about JAGSOM or Jagdish Sheth School of Management. Now, very firstly, the first point that I would like to tell you, sir, and also to my, dear listeners who are here, actually, in fact, the audience, is that JAGSOM is one of the business schools that offering a BBA program that is AA CSB accredited. Now, there are many of us who might not be knowing what is AA CSB. Now, AA CSB stands for Association of Advanced Collegiate Schools of Business. Now, this is considered to be one of the biggest accreditation for any business school. Now, I'll just explain you from a layman's perspective. Now, let's say a person who has never heard about, Jagdish, AA CSB. Now, let's say that you are representing India at the Tokyo Olympics. That's going to start very soon. So your ultimate objective or dream of being an athlete representing your country at the Olympics is to win the gold medal. I'm sure that all of you are aware about that. Now, getting a AA CSB accreditation in the world of business school is similar to that. Now, let me give you some facts. In India, there are around 14 business schools which are AA CSB accredited. We were the 6th business school to have got this accreditation in 2018. Now, this is a symbol of international quality. So we have become an internationally recognized business school offering a BBA degree. That's number one, sir. The second is that the faculty who is going to teach you. Now, you have a Dr. Jagdish Sheth, who's a Padma Bhushan awardee and one of the most renowned, management figures in the world of corporate as well as academia. So he has given his name to our institution and also teaches. We have Professor Parasuraman, who is a guru in the field of marketing. So we have top MBA faculty who is going to teach BBA at Jagdish Sheth School of Management around the world. That's what I'm talking about. We also have, as I've told you, another USP is the International Higher Education Pathways after your BBA program in association with, again, some of the top-notch institutions in Europe and Australia as well. Another thing is that our curriculum is designed with interventions like internships, immersions for new age roles in new age companies. Now, let me tell you a fact. Last year, we were very worried because we were very worried about the placement of our institutions. We never knew how it's going to happen. We were confused because of the pandemic. The industry was not doing well. There was no jobs in the market. But our curriculum focuses on designing people for new age roles and new age companies. And trust me, because of that, in 2.5 months, we were able to place all of us, all the students actually, in fact, and that's not all. There was a remarkable rise in the average package also because we focused on that. Another, USP, I would like to say, Mr. Dhanda, which is a very important USP of Jagdish Sheth School of Management, the Bachelor's of Business Administration, that particular program. It is India's first liberal professional curriculum that offers flexibility and opportunities to the students to self-discover and also to enhance their overall personalities. And last but not the least, we have some very unique interventions like the Personality Enhancement Program. I'm a faculty in that area where we focus on life skills and lifestyle aspect. So what is life skills? Life skill is about, we teach you how to talk, how to walk, how to dress appropriately, how to eat with a knife and a fork, how to build your resume, how to conduct in a business meeting, how to crack the group discussion and the PI and so on. And the lifestyle aspects talks to us about 3 things: health, wellness, and physical fitness. Now, it is a mandatory course for everybody in JAGSOM to either hit the gym or do aerobics and Zumba or play sports and games or do yoga as per your choice. But the objective is to inculcate the habit of a healthy lifestyle because physical fitness is one aspect which is gaining track today. And we take extreme importance to that with internationally certified trainers who keep a track of your progress on the physical fitness part. Last but not the least, our faculty members are domain specialists. You will find a great mixture of, academicians and industry practitioners who have oceans of experience in top-notch institutions around the world, who is going to teach you, your different courses at Jagdish Sheth School of Management. So, sir, these are some of the, I would say USPs that actually are key differentiators for Jagdish Sheth School of Management when you look in the, the world of BBA. So I would like to,
Thank you.
Talk about
if you go on any further, Professor Chakraborty, I swear I'll have to go back to college. Okay. I was listening to you and I was like, Parikshit, I'm sorry, you should have been born during this era. Let's just go back to college, Okay. Thank you so much. God bless you. And you take this initiative further. I am tempted to ask you another question, Mr. Abhijit. Now, on one side, I have Professor Chakraborty talking about, wow, industry, academia, international, collaborations, accreditation. Now, my question to you is, a lot of students think that, the usual story that's been continuing for hundreds of years, are managers born or made, right? Now, on the other side, we have an entire world, a different world, which is talking about entrepreneurship, right? Startups, entrepreneurship. On the other side, we are saying, excuse me, we are going to have an assembly line. and make you amazing management professionals. So my question to you is, how do we converge on startups and entrepreneurship and traditional or conventional or unconventional form of management? Over to you, please.
Yeah, so this is a very interesting question because I'll tell you, I'm a freelance, free actually. I do free in LinkedIn. I do coaching and mentor of a lot of people, and I do startup mentoring and all. So unfortunately, I have to tell you and honestly admit it that there are a lot of entrepreneurs who come to me for guidance, but I feel that they may not be the right person. Okay, they have just they thought that they can become a CEO. They started a company and they're struggling. And if you see one of the reason the number of startups failed in India, it is not because the industry failed or technology failed. It is because they lack a lot of things. It is not that I want to become a CEO of a company just because another friend of mine has done it and I will do it, correct? And then you fail it. So whenever I go and discuss with them, I just want to find them whether they have the core skill. I mentioned about the core skill, correct? And 9 out of 10 guys who failed or struggling is actually they do not have the core skills. Okay, so I will give a very small example, and I generally narrate to many people, and then I will connect the dot. It will be a little bit longer, but I'll still try to do that. So I think I'm just looking into the chats also. So please, all the people, just listen to me this for a few minutes instead of chatting. Just listen to my story.
Absolutely, we are all ears.
My interpretation. My interpretation. Take an example. You are in base 0, and after putting 3,000 hours of effort, or maybe 5-10 years of effort, you have gone a very deep in the subject. Okay, so once you go deep in the subject and you acquire some knowledge and experience and all, correct? So then what happens? You go somewhere, and that gives you that you have gone to the depth. Now imagine you have gone to a depth and you've gone into a tunnel, which is like a well, and you end up a frog in the well. You have gone down, but you are a frog in the well. So when you wake up, you see everything surrounding you and you cannot see beyond that. You have specialized, you have learned a lot of things, and you get surrounded. And then what happens when the outside world changes, you are unable to change. So initial 5-10 months or 12 months of your journey, it looks fine because I will have something, I will something. You are dipping inside, correct? And then suddenly you realize that, boss, I have come into darkness. I'm not able to do anything beyond that. And that's where the startups and CEOs and entrepreneurs fails. They go deep inside in something without realizing certain things, correct? Now take the other example of the same story. Take an example, I spent 3 years, 30,000 hours of effort, but instead of going deep, I start to learn how to fly. And in 3 years' time, I'll become an eagle. Once I become an eagle, I go the same 3 kilometers, instead of going deep, I go up. So when I go to the sky, I get to see the length and breadth of the landscape. And I can decide what to pick and what not to pick. Both of you are needed in the industry. Both are needed. Please understand. I'm not saying one is bad and one is good. But what happens is in entrepreneur, this question always comes to me. So that I always try to give an example of this. Whether you want to become a frog or an eagle, both are existing animals in the world, in the universe, correct? Or in the world. So now what happens, you want to become eagle, then you can choose whether you're going to take the prey from the sea or river or pond or wherever it is, correct? Because your landscape is very high. And that skill is, as on today, nobody is teaching as on today. And that I think is the biggest gap of these entrepreneurs, okay? And you have to find it out that you have to think beyond boundary. I have a course which I run, it's called Think Beyond Boundary. It's not called boundaryless. Please understand there is nothing called boundaryless. You cross a boundary, you'll find another boundary. You cross a boundary, so always you have to think beyond a boundary. Okay, so that's what is needed. And as on today, once you stop thinking beyond a boundary, you get confined. I have seen many people coming and say, which is best for me? Tell me, what am I supposed to do? And if I have to tell you something to do, then you think of an eagle. Nobody tells eagle what to do. It does its own, correct? So, and the frog gets a fantastic built-in, it just dips into copy paste and then okay, fine, somebody has taken the path, I will also take the path. Go down. Eagle doesn't do that. And it survives in a different way. So that's why I'm very, very important. So I run course because it's very difficult to summarize in 2 minutes, but this is what it is. You have to think whether in 3 years time, 5 years time, what experience you are going, we are going deep or you're going to fly. If you're trying to fly, yes, you are a right entrepreneur. If you are deep, then if luck favors, industry goes well, everything goes well, maybe you will shine and few years you will survive. But once the turbulence comes, like the pandemic things comes, it will collapse.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. Brilliant. Professor Chakraborty, one last question, please. Are you still taking admissions for this year? Number one. Number two, what is the your eligibility selection criteria? How are you choosing students? Please, can you throw some more light?
Absolutely. So yes, the admissions are open right now at Jagdish Sheth School of Management for the BBA program. And the last date to apply is August 14th, 2021, on our Independence Eve. That's how I look at it, actually. In fact, yes, it's a very simple process, but a process that makes you learn a lot, because you have to be eligible for the admission process. You have to either give SAT or IP MAT, or if you have not given anything, since we are under Vijay Bhumi University, we have our own exam called VUSAT. Now, VUSAT is an examination that tests your scholastic ability in 3 areas, namely quantitative aptitude, verbal ability, and comprehension. So you have to give that test. If you have not given SAT or IP MAT or UGAT or anything of that sort, after that, you'll be called for an interview process, and you'll be interviewed by one of our senior faculty members. And during the admission, we please understand, at Jagdish Sheth School of Management, we believe in a culture that follows or select the person who is the right value fit for the organization. Okay. Now, value fit is very different from selecting a person based on his marks. Now, we don't judge a candidate by just a piece of paper. Please understand that. Yes, you need to have the basic minimal of 50% to be eligible to apply, but that is not a parameter to judge anybody who is selected, who is there as part of the admission process. But we give a lot of emphasis on the overall personality and the person, because we want to select the person who has the right value fit. Now, just to give you an example, we have recently started off with our PGDM, batch. And I will just give you an idea about the kind of people that we have in that particular batch. You will be shocked to know that there are people, and I'm not joking, it's a fact, they're studying at our campus right now. They are national level rifle shooters, international level taekwondo winners. We have people who are, represented the district, the state, at national level and international level at various sports. We have people, who are, the most unique thing I've seen. There are people who are musicians, who are professional dancers. So it's a huge mix of people, a big mix of people who are creative in nature, who wants to, show the world, or who wants to explore their passion to discover themselves. So that gives a lot of weightage as well. So it's not about only the academic scores. Yes, it is important, but more importantly, you as an individual, as a person, as a personality, that we look at. And one senior faculty member is going to meet you one-on-one to interact with you, to decide your selection or rejection whatsoever. And this is the admission process that we follow at Jagdish Sheth School of Management. Of course, we are still, admitting students, but the last date is August 14th, 2021.
Thank
you. So that's about it, sir.
Thank you so much. And dear students, if you've been listening to what Professor Chakraborty was sharing, there is another point to be noted. He talked about musicians, sports personalities, people who've done well, but they are still not taking a chance with academia. All right. It is called plan A, plan B. All right. It's also saying, what if someday this doesn't work, or once we've won all the laurels and it's time to hang my boots, what is my plan B? All right. Great. Thank you so much. Mr. Abhijit and Professor Chakraborty, last comments from you. Please think about me as a 17, 18-year-old listening to both of you. Mr. Abhijit, what are few mantras or points that you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah, so I think one of the question was asked how to become the frog or an eagle, correct? So as I told you, frog and eagle are not bad. I mean, both are good, and that's needed in some specialization. Take an example of a scientist who is developing a vaccine. He has to be, or she has to be, a frog only, because it has to be very specialized area. Don't think frog is bad and eagle is this one. I talked about entrepreneur. Scientists are not becoming entrepreneur. They're becoming very focused on liking it, and I want to deep dive and create a vaccine out of it, correct? And end of the day, the vaccine will be sold by a company and my management takes over. So there's nothing wrong, because I think that's the interpretation has to be very clearly being. Entrepreneurs need to become in a bigger. So if anything goes wrong, because as an eagle, you can switch, you can move on. If something goes dry, not a problem. I can switch to another place. I can move fast, correct? So I can fly and go to another city or another state and then do that, correct? So now, as in saying that what should be the goal, I will give another example, again, my example. Sorry, because I always give my reality example, which many people like or do not like. I'll just give an example. So it's maybe, it's called lion is the king of the jungle. We all heard about it, correct? Lion is the king of the jungle, correct? So now the question is, there are two things there, lion and the jungle, and the king is anyway fixed. So lion, you can find it out in a zoo, in a circus, or in a jungle. So take an example, a lion which is in the zoo. What it does, it just sits there. His food comes on time, 12 o'clock, evening something, food is served. He's in a confined area. No one comes and attacks. Everything is fine. And he's having his life. Fine. His salary is coming up, and the food is nothing but the salary, correct? And his comfort zone, everything is in comfort. Fantastic. He lives there. People come throw peanuts, or so you can try to, make him anger. And then we'll come around and see it and then go, correct? So that's one life of a lion. Another lion is in the circus. What it does, it plays, and then anything it does, any tricks it invents, then the main guy, the zoo, the trainer, he takes all the credit. End of the day, whatever he performs, trainer says, okay, fantastic, because nobody realizes which lion performed it, correct? All the lions look alike for me. So end of the day, whatever performs, the credit goes to the ringmaster. This guy is the main guy, he trained. So he takes the credit, not the lion. There also he gets his food and everything, fantastic, taken care. He goes into a confined cage and lives there. Now comes the jungle guy. He has to hunt for his food. Every day he doesn't know tomorrow what will happen, whether he'll get the food or not. He has to live there. Rain, no protection from rain, weather, fire, nothing, no protection. He lives in the jungle. But whenever we talk about a king is that guy who is fighting every day his battle. That's the lion. Now, if you want to become a lion and the king, okay, and also want the comfort, salary will come, best job, buy a car and all, sorry, you are a lion, but whether you are a king or not, that makes the difference. So if you have the courage to take the pain and go through that anything comes, any challenge comes to me, I am going to adapt. I am going to change. I am going to become, face them. And then that is my capability. I am not confined to something like that while, correct? I am not confined. Tomorrow something comes, I will take it up. Many people, many students come say, I want to do only this and this and this. Otherwise, I will not do it. You are confining yourself. You become a lion. You want to become a lion, but end of the day, you will become a circus lion or a zoo lion. You cannot be a jungle lion. So that's why I tell, because people, how do I do that? If you want to become, all the lions are good. Everybody is earning money, correct? End of the day, in Africa, people are going and seeing the lion and people are making business out of it. Fine. To become the king of the jungle, you have to be that. And that's what my simple explanation to this.
Mr. Abhijit, you should be, I know you're doing a great, fantastic job as a coach. You're mentoring people, but you are an amazing storyteller, I must tell you. And there's a lot of learning in those stories. Thank you so much. Professor Chakraborty, your last comments, please.
Yeah, very simple, sir. Now, I would like to say only a few things which motivated me 25 years back when I was 17 years old. Actually, I was in a dilemma at what to do in life. I actually a lot of choices, but again, I was I don't call myself a fool, but people thought me that I am a fool when during those days, I'm talking about 1998, when I, took a step and did my graduation in hotel management. Because hotel management was a complete new thing during those days. And people called me that you're a fool. You're nuts to do a hotel management during those days. But I took that step because of one simple thing. Something which I would like to advise my 17-year-old friends is one thing. And that you should never forget about. Yes, all of us are worried about careers, this, that, a lot of things. But one thing we forget about it, and that is to have fun. That is to have fun in life. That is very, very important, number one. Number two is that I always used to motivate, Dhanda sir and Abhijit sir, I am a big fan of Rocky Balboa. I don't know whether my 17-year-old friends have seen that character or not, but that character, I show him as a part of my class many a times to motivate my students. And there is a very famous saying which actually motivated me. And the saying is something like this: it ain't over till it's over. Life is not about how hard you hit. It's all about how hard you can get hit and still moving forward. Keep moving forward. This was his instruction to his son. If you remember Rocky Part 5, I'm talking about, that was his instruction to his son, who was struggling in his life to, make a career choice. Okay. Now, I would say one thing, just work on yourself, invest time on yourself, invest money on yourself, make yourself a better version of yourself. And that should not be by force. That should be within yourself to develop yourself into a good human being. That is more important. That is what the world is lacking today. Last but not the least, with your permission, Dhanda sir, I always do that. Please start loving your life. Look at your life as your opportunity rather than a mistake. That's my only request to all of you. And I would like to end my parting comments, because I have a hobby, Dhanda sir, of writing shairis. So if you don't mind, considering it to be a Saturday evening, I thought I was sharing a shairi with my, 17-year-old friends over here, because I write my own shairis because I have a passion towards that. And, some of my friends might not be understanding Hindi or Urdu, but I'll try to translate that also. It's something like this. Arz kiya. Okay. Shukriya. Thank you. बेशक न जुबां से कुछ कहिए, बेशक न जुबां से कुछ कहिए, आंखों से क़यामत हो जाए। बेशक न जुबां से कुछ कहिए, आंखों से क़यामत हो जाए। आप एक नजर देखो तो सही, मुमकिन है कि मोहब्बत हो जाए। This is what I dedicate to my life. You look at life in a way that you love your life. Don't look at it as a threat. Look at it as an opportunity. Life will take you to the best of the places. I can assure you about that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, both the gentlemen, for a lovely evening. And trust me, a Saturday evening, kya baat hai? Exactly. Yogesh is saying, wah, wah, kya baat hai? Thank you so much. It's an amazing chemistry. Both of you have shared these nuggets, which are very important, and I'm 100% sure our audience would have loved it. Thank you so much. You can still see more than 100 people are still present even after 1 hour and still listening to us. Thank you so much. And I can't thank you enough. Over to you, Kripa.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Chakraborty. Thank you, Abhijit, sir. It was such an amazing session. And, PD, sir, you mentioned that you felt like being a student again. I'm telling you, I was right there with you. I wish I could have been, studying in the time right now with all the variety of options. And MarTech, I've never heard of that before, being a career coach. That was such an excellent session. Thank you so much for sharing all your insights. I'm sure our participants have had a good time. We are already seeing such amazing feedback. And that, what a beautiful thought to end the session with also, to love your life and, to look at it as an opportunity. What a beautiful, beautiful takeaway. Thank you so much for sharing that as well, sir.
One last thing, Mr. Abhijit, I hope you don't have a copyright on that line story, okay? Because I'm going to share that with my other...
Many people have taken it, not a problem.
Okay, thank you so much.
I definitely
have many such stories,
be using that as well.
All right. Thank you so much. Stay safe.
Okay, sir, just a quick note. We just want to reiterate that if there are students who are looking at applying to Vijayabhumi University, I'm going to put down the link and the contact details for them to be able to reach out to the school. And I do hope that we were able to address all your questions, participants. However, if we missed out, please reach out to us at hello@mindler.com, and we'd be very, very happy to answer any questions that you may have. Mindler, as you know, has helped more than 120,000 students and partnered with more than 150 schools across India to achieve the same. Our psychometric assessment has an accuracy of 97% in terms of helping students identify their ideal career. You may be confused regarding many things such as ideal career path, college admissions, entrance exams, profile building, and much more. Our career coaches are here to help you out. You can learn more about our services and various programs that we offer on our website. I'm just going to put down our website link as well. It is www.mindler.com. And on that note, I wish you all a lovely evening. Take care, everyone. And thank you so much for being here today with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Krupa, 1 second.
Yes.
There is a gentleman called Sohail. He wanted a question and we haven't been able to. Okay, if we could just take a minute. Sohail, I'm sorry if we have, please, due to paucity of time, we've not been able to take a question. Quickly write your question and I'll request my guest to answer it. Quickly. Sohail, tell us what's your question. You know, he was really feeling it. He said, I wanted them to answer. Okay. Sohail, can you tell us your question? If you want our guests to answer your question, cybersecurity. What about cybersecurity, Sohail?
So one of his questions, which I had actually answered, was that he wanted to know which of the careers had the most value. And we did tell him that it is a very open-ended question, and it really, the whole meaning of value differs from person to person.
Yes,
so that is something we really need to.
If I can take one line to answer that, let me tell you, if you want to see, you go all around. There are top-notch lawyers in the country. There are top-notch academicians. Go to tehsil courts and so on. You will also see lawyers not even able to make 1,000 rupee a month. So please understand, it all depends upon your investment, your passion, talent, aptitude, skill set, the pathway that you take, the trajectory. And therefore, there is nothing called which is the best one. You want to be a finest chef, you can do that. It's up to you what you want to do. I hope I'm sorry, there's only so much I can share. If you have a lot of skills, reach out to a career coach. We'll be able to definitely help you. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry, but I just felt he shouldn't feel bad on a Saturday evening. Thank you, Sohail.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.